Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. And hi if you're new here, I'm Jade, and today we're trying something a little different. So if you watched my video about my 5 main tips to help you focus on books, I did briefly mention setting out sort of time limits and time guides for your reading and setting that time aside. And I did briefly mention something called the Pomodoro method. I did mention in that video I hadn't personally tried it, but here we are today. It is time. So just a precursor about the Pomodoro technique. It is not just for reading. It is for anything. So any tasks, work, otherwise related, cleaning, whatever you're doing, if you struggle to keep focused and keep on task, it is for that. So I am trying it for reading, but it could be applied to anywhere in your life. So the Pomodoro method was created by Francesco Carrillo. Italian name, I'm sorry if I butchered that. But he created it in the 1980s, so it's not a new thing whatsoever. But you know what? I had never really heard of it before. So the idea with the Pomodoro method is that you do your task, in this case, reading, for 25 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break, and then you do 25 minutes, and you repeat this. So you do the 25 minutes followed by a 5 minute break 4 times. And then after the 4 times, you're supposed to take a longer break of like 15 to 30 minutes before you get back into it. I will say, I don't think I often read for more than 2 hours at a time, just usually like how my day allows. I'm often coming back in and out of my books, but sometimes I do have that sort of 2 hour session where I really just want to dive into the book. But I do struggle with my concentration sometimes, especially if it's a new book. If I'm starting something new, I don't know the author, especially, like, I feel like it can take me a little bit more to like get into things, which I think is normal. But I would like something to maybe help me focus, because I am that person that will suddenly find myself with my phone in my hand when I'm trying to read, and like, I shouldn't do that. So the Pomodoro method is supposed to improve your focus, reduce procrastination, which is what I need the most, I think. It also should prevent burnout and boost your motivation. I don't really feel like I need motivation to read. Like, I do often want to read, it's just staying in it for me. They also claim it's good for people with ADHD for tasks. So if you're someone who loves reading but you do have ADHD, I know audiobooks are very good for that. But if you do kind of still like your physical books, maybe give this a go as well for that reason. So as for timing it, I was like, what are my options? I was like, I could use my Alexa and just say, hey Alexa, 25 minutes. And then when that ends, I could go, hey Alexa, 5 minutes. And I know it starts again, then I'll skip for 25, etc. So I was thinking I could do that. Obviously, I could set it on my phone. I don't know, alarms on my phone and timers on my phone just kind of bug me, but it's an option. Like, I feel like most people should have that as an option, so you can always use that. However, I have found a website called Pomo Focus, and that's just an online tool that does it all for you. So you can literally just use that, which I think is amazing. So if you don't know what to use, you can use that. It works on a desktop or mobile browser. So yeah, you've always got that, and it's free to use. Well, I say it's free to use. It looks free to use. I gave it a really quick test, but I obviously haven't used it, but I will try using it today. So I can let you know at the end whether it's worth it. So I'm just going to do the first 4 Pomodoros. I'm going to do that 25 minutes followed by a 5 minute break 4 times, and then see how I'm feeling after that. I don't think I'm going to carry on past the break, because as I said, I rarely read more than 2 hours at a time anyway, just because of life and busyness. So yeah, but I feel like this is going to be long enough to test it out. So what I'm going to do, I am going to grab a quick snack because I'm kind of hungry and I feel like I won't be able to focus if I'm hungry. But then I am going to get myself settled. I will film it so you can kind of see how my focus is going. I will put it on a time lapse, because otherwise you're watching me for 2 hours, which is insane. So it'll be very quick. So it's not boring. I will be honest. I will tell you if there are times that I lost my focus more than I wanted to, and I'll give you my honest opinions at the end. But yeah, so let me go get myself ready, get cozy, and set up. Okay, I'm all ready. I'm all cozy on the sofa. I'm reclined. I have my blanket. I'm in my like cozy reading position, because I think despite trying this Pomodoro technique, I think it's important to have all your other sort of comforts and what helps you focus anyway. So I do have set up on my iPad the Pomodoro timer website. I do think you have to choose like short break, etc. after, and start the timer again. So it's not that much different to controlling it elsewhere, but it's kind of cool because it's already set to the right times. So I have that set up. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do with my like 5 minute break, if I'm honest, but I was like, I can always browse stuff as I've got my iPad here. And yeah, I don't know. Or if I need the toilet, whatever, I suppose I just go do that. So I'm hoping this is going to really help absorb me into the book. I have chosen This Time It's Real by Anne Ang to try this out with because it's a new book for me. I haven't started it yet. And as I mentioned, for me, starting a book is the hardest with focus and concentration. So why not just throw it in the deep end, see if this works at a time where I know my concentration is at its lowest with a book. I will say I have read Anne Ang as an author before, but this is a YA book from her, and the last YA book I read from her, I just wasn't that absorbed. Like, it was okay, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't great. So I feel like this is a good one to test it on as well, because there's a part of me that's like, oh, am I gonna like this? And while I adore her adult novel, like, I'm just not sure I'm sold on Annie Own YA. So let's see if this method helps me concentrate on this. I'm gonna get started. I'm going to open it to the first page. Okay, we're open. Chapter 1. And then I'm going to start the timer. And then we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to check back in during, because then I feel like my 5-minute breaks are not really breaks. And then it's not a true test. I want to make this as true as I can. So yeah, I'm going to film some of this. I don't know if I'm going to film for the whole 2 hours, because that would be an insane amount of footage, but I will at least film the first part of me reading, the first break, etc. Just, so you can kind of see the method working, and then I'll get back to you on how I found everything at the end. So yeah, let's go. Alexa, stop. So annoyingly, my microphone stopped working for this clip, which I don't really get why, because it had just worked picking up the sound of Alexa, but never mind. I thought I'd quickly record a voiceover to say all I was explaining here was the timer. So the website I found, that Pomodoro Focus, I didn't like it in the end, because when your device goes into sleep mode, the alarm doesn't go off. So I kind of started wondering about this very quickly into reading and quickly set an alarm on Alexa. So I may have been a minute or two out on my first Pomodoro, but I feel like I genuinely got the time pretty accurate. And then I just said I wasn't going to film any more of the reading. I just wanted to absorb into it, probably test it, and that I would get back to you after my first break. Okay, everyone, I'm back. Time is up. So obviously that first one wasn't completely succinct with me having to change the time to Alexa, but I'm pretty sure it was basically the same time. Then I did it for 3 Pomodoros. So yeah, basically I did 4 sessions of 25 minutes of reading, which obviously totals to 1 hour 40 minutes. And then I had a 20-minute gap overall. So I guess like in my breaks, like honestly, it just depended. Sometimes I was like stretching and stuff, because I do find sometimes sitting still just makes me stiff. And I feel like that was really good for me just to like move for a minute. So for me, that's what kind of worked on the breaks, was just to move, like just walk around a little bit, stretch, whatever. So I did actually end up reading, let me see, 226 pages of this book. So I'm about 2/3 of the way through. It is YA, so the text isn't tiny. So yeah, I do feel like that's quite a good amount for me in like 1 hour and 40 minutes of actual reading time, getting 226 pages through. I feel like that is a good indication that I was pretty absorbed into it. So does it work? I would say yeah, kind of. My main issues with it is I hate stopping like in the middle of a chapter. So obviously when those 5-minute breaks were arriving, I was kind of having to do that. It didn't bother me as much as I thought, because it was only 5 minutes and then I was like back in the book, it was sort of okay. What I don't like is that I've ended up in the middle of a chapter now at the end. So if I was doing this, not for a test purpose and filming it right now, I'd probably just, when that final alarm goes off where I'm planning to stop reading for the day, I'd probably just finish till the end of the chapter, honestly. But yeah, I do actually think it really helped me. Now, would I want to use this all the time? Honestly, no. I just feel like if I was doing this a lot, it would maybe get a little bit repetitive and feel more like work, when reading is my hobby. However, I think if you're reading for university, anything like that, I think this is great. Like, I wish I'd have done this at university with my university reading because it would have helped so, so much. I also think this would be a really good idea for me to do if there's a book that I'm really struggling to get into, or maybe one that I kind of want to DNF, but I tend not to DNF. So if I really want to push through, this might be a really good method because it kind of just makes me read. I will say, I think I'm one of those people that when I have like a goal, like a specific kind of thing that I'm trying to follow, I am like, yep, I have to read for 25 minutes and then I can have my reward of my break. I am quite good at making myself do that. Obviously, just because the timer's there doesn't mean you necessarily won't get distracted. I did find my brain wander a few times and we have to read a few lines again, like often happens when I read. But that was like the worst distraction for me. And from the amount I read, I can just tell that generally I was really absorbed. And actually, I'm quite enjoying this story. I'm not going to lie. If you want to hear what I thought about it, wait for my wrap up for October, because then I'll tell you about it. So overall conclusion, I do think the Pomodoro method works. However, I do think if you were to overuse it, it might get a bit much. Especially if you're someone who doesn't tend to read as long periods, because I kind of feel like if I was reading less than the 2 hours total, it would kind of be a waste of time really doing it, I feel like. But then you could make your own version. You could do, if you really struggle with concentration or you just don't have as much time, you could do 15 minutes reading, 5-minute break or something like that. I guess you could make up your own rules on it. But yeah, honestly, if you are someone who is really, really struggling to focus on books, especially if they are things you have to read, i.e. university, etc., try this. Honestly, like, it might not work for everyone, but honestly, for me, it really has. And I was so skeptical. I really didn't think this would work for me, but actually it really has. So yeah, I would say give it a go. If you feel like you're in the need for that, if you really do struggle, try it. And that's my best advice, because I was pleasantly surprised that this works better than I thought it would. But yeah, let me know if you've ever tried this and if it worked for you, because I'm really intrigued. Or if you are going to go and try it now, please come back to the comments and let me know if it works, because I just want to know how many people this does seem to work for, because it really has surprised me. So yeah. But anyway, I will see you again real soon. Bye.